Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I'm just going to get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a lot to cover, but this right here is the most important part of this video. So please, at the very minimum, stay for this. This is a story from The Guardian. Fury over forever chemicals as U.S. states spread toxic sewage sludge. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about this for a very long time. On several different videos, that you have to get a water filter for everyday use. Right? I'm going to go over this with you, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how dangerous it is that this could be to you. And you may never know that you're consuming this unless it's too late. States are continuing to allow sewage sludge to be spread on croplands as fertilizer, in some cases increasing the amount spread, even as the PFAS tainted substance has ruined farmers' livelihoods, poisoned water supplies, contaminated food, and put the public's health at risk. Now, I want to explain to you and go over with you before we finish reading what I noted on here, what PFAS are. They're very dangerous chemicals, and it's not just one chemical, but a whole bunch of them. Ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, I want to talk about nutrient survival. And no, this is not a sponsored video. I'm not doing an infomercial for nutrient survival. You all know that I love nutrient survival and that I love the people. Well, this right here is Eric, and this right here is Becky. And Becky is a little goofy, as you can see. Nutrient Survival is doing a giveaway every single day of the month during one of their live streams. They have a live stream every day of the rest of this month, September, at 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, or 3 p.m. Pacific time. If you go to their live stream, you will have a chance to win something. But I've noticed that only about 300-400 people go to their live stream to get a chance to win something, and this is what I'm going to do. No, they did not ask me to do this. They don't even know that I'm doing this. But what I'm going to do is, since I love Nutrient Survival so much, and I truly do love the people that work at Nutrient Survival, they're good people who make an awesome product. All right, awesome product, the most nutritious food that there is in any kind of survival food company out there, ladies and gentlemen. It is an outstanding product. And now, you don't want to use my link? Don't use my link. I don't care. Disclosure, I am affiliated with Nutrient Survival, but this is not about you using my link. This is not about any of that. This is about us as a community supporting an awesome company that has awesome people that makes an awesome product. So what I'm going to do is this, to make it short. If tomorrow we have at least 1,000 people in the chats, if we have 1,000 people in the live stream, I am going to pay for them to give away to one of those people that's in that live stream, as long as it hits at least 1,000 and 500 likes. 1,000 people in the live stream, 500 likes. I am going to pay for them to give away an Alaska Prepper kit, which is like $270 value. So if it hits 1,000 people in the chats or in the live stream and 500 likes, I will pay for them to give away an Alaska Prepper bucket, which is about $270 value. So having said that, let's go back to the video. Now this is from the EPA. We're going to go over here where it says what EPA has learned so far about PFASs. They are widely used, long-lasting chemicals, components of which break down very slowly over time. Because of their widespread use and their persistence in the environment, many PFAS are found in the blood of people and in animals all over the world, and are present at low levels in a variety of food products and in the environment. PFAS are found in water, air, fish, and soil at locations across the nation and the globe. Scientific studies have shown that exposure to some PFAS in the environment may be linked to harmful health effects in humans and animals. There are thousands of PFAS chemicals, and they are found in many different consumer, commercial, and industrial products. I think, I'm not an expert on this, so please do your own research. I think that a reverse osmosis system will filter those chemicals out. because a reverse osmosis system pretty much leaves you with pure water. And many people contest that, well, RO systems are no good for you because they take all of the nutrients or all of the minerals out of the water. Well, ladies and gentlemen, will you rather drink water that has nothing in it or drink water that has the possibility of having these chemicals in them? Now, I would believe that something like a Berkey or some other high-end, better water filters that are gravity water filters would work just as well. However, you have to do your own research, right? Because I can't research everything. But I did order, I know that Berkeys are pretty expensive. They're very pricey, but they have stood the test of time over the years. I did order a different type of water filter that is also a gravity water filter that someone that I knows has used it for years. And he goes by this. He's like, this is the best water filter I've had, and it's a lot less expensive than a Berkey. I ordered one of those just so that I can review it, go over it with you all, and see how it works. Maybe it would be a better option for those that are that don't have the budget to buy something like a Berkey that's $300, $400, $500 in some cases, depending on what size it is. Something else that I wanted to show you about PFASs are some of the associated health risks with it. Impact of PFOA, which is one of those same chemicals. PFASs are PFOA, right? It's kind of like the same name for the same chemicals. The most studied PFAS are PFOA, and there's their names. Both of these chemicals have been linked to several serious health problems, to include cancer of all of these types. Now, they have been linked. It's not that they say they think. They have been linked to these cancers. Thyroid disease, high cholesterol, pregnancy-induced hypertension, elevated liver enzymes, immune system problems, and decreased fertility. So, ladies and gentlemen, go out there and get yourselves a water filter. I would like you to wait until I do the video on the one that I'm reviewing. But I want to review it. I don't want to tell you what it is first because I want to review it. If I review it and it's no good, I'll just come out and say, hey, this is no good. But I don't want you to go out there and buy something just because I say a name. I want to actually review it before I tell you, yes, I recommend this or not. Because I don't want you to go out there, especially if you're of low means, and spend money on something that it's not going to do you any good. Before I actually go out there and say, hey, look, this is how I'm testing it. This is what I think. And then you can make a better informed decision that way. But I always recommend that you do your own research. Now, this is something that I was going to do a separate video on. However, I've seen that a lot of other YouTube channels have been mentioning this, so I've gone ahead and included this in this video. Why are Walmart and other major U.S. retailers canceling billions of dollars in orders as summer comes to an end? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to read this article. I will, however, leave the link to all of these articles that I've gone over on a pinned comment so that you can revisit them if you like and read them for yourselves. However, remember what I talked about on yesterday's video about the housing market. Now, I'm not saying that it's just the housing market, right? But the reason why I believe Walmart is canceling, not just Walmart, but other big retailers are canceling orders for the next several months into the future is because Americans, ladies and gentlemen, are broke. All right, Americans are broke. U.S. building permits crash in August. Multifamily starts hit record high. Why is it that building permits crash, right? Like for houses, for single family dwellings, whereas multifamily dwellings are going up? Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because people cannot afford to buy a home anymore. As I've stated on my yesterday's video, the American dream is over. People are just trying to survive. When in a country of 330 million people, 60 or more, I think it's like 74% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. When more than 60% of the people only have $400 or $500 in the bank, just enough to maybe cover a flat tire. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's going to happen. Walmart and all of these other department stores, they are now realizing that this holiday season will not be like the past holiday seasons. This holiday season should have been great, right? It should have been great. However, I've often touted that governments, they thrive on crises. So as we're shifting away from one crisis, according to the president of these United States, right, or of the United States, who said that this crisis is over, right? He said it on national TV. As we're shifting away from one, then we find ourselves in another. And this one right here is going to be a crisis that will involve inflation. And inflation is something that we've heard for several weeks now. Inflation, inflation, inflation. Well, guess what? It's something we're going to hear and that we're going to live through for the next several years, not just for weeks. This is a crisis that will last a very long time because the money printers eventually will come back on. That's my opinion. Eventually, the Federal Reserve will shift and they will turn those spigots back on, and it's going to get even worse than what it is now. But what this is doing, what the Federal Reserve is doing now, as far as tightening, as far as increasing interest rates, and the dollar going up, and the 10-year bond going up at the same time, what that's doing is it's destroying the economy. It is destroying people's ability to borrow, because we live in a debt-based economy. It is destroying their ability to borrow and to be able to buy stuff, which is what happens when you have a consumer-based economy. Here in the United States, we don't have a manufacturing economy. We have a consumer-based and a services-based economy, meaning that people buy stuff, mainly that's made outside of our country, and people work in restaurants, mainly. Most of the jobs in the U.S. are service jobs. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens when inflation takes hold and your salaries or wages cannot keep up with inflation? Exactly what you see happening now, and you will also continue to see happening in the future. Consumer demand collapses as global economy implodes. Factories are closing doors. Freight demands plummet. This is just another sign of what's going on. And another one right here. Amazon suspends construction of new warehouses in Spain as consumption boom falters. Americans are drowning in long-term credit card debt. So not only are Americans poor, but they are expanding, I would say, their equity. Meaning that instead of spending everything they have, they're spending more than everything they have, because not only do they have nothing in the bank, but now they're also going into debt. So they have negative equity. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's happening. That is why businesses are going to continue to close and people are going to continue to lose their jobs. I think I have one more here, and that is, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a sign of the times. Things are not getting any better. I hope that you're preparing. I hope that you're preparing. I hope that you all saw my video from yesterday where I told you all, everyone, just like everyone should have a water filtration system for everyday use, everyone ought to have at the minimum, a small generator. Because with inflation, with the fuel crisis that we've got going on, and with the food crisis that's coming on next year, ladies and gentlemen, people don't realize that we're going to have a serious food crisis next year. You think that we've been inconvenienced this year by maybe potatoes not being on the shelf as much as they normally were, by a few of these things missing here, a few things missing there. The price of everything obviously is going up. It's food mostly and energy mostly, but everything else is going up as well. You think it's been an inconvenience as far as that goes? You wait till next year. Because what many people don't realize is that this year we're still eating off of last year's harvest. And this year's harvest is looking pretty bleak. Just take a look around. Just do a little bit of research and you'll see for yourselves that you should be stocking up on several things. Not only food, fuel, water filtration system, water, self-defense, medicine. Tesla is hiking supercharger prices significantly across Europe. Well, AP, this is happening in Europe. What's the big deal? We're here in the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be coming to a city near you as well. And it looks here like Tesla is increasing their prices. Like I said, I'm not going to read through this, but they're increasing it up to 300%. All right? They're increasing the price of being able to charge a basic Tesla from like $10 to $30. That's an increase of, well, it's really an increase of 200%. It's 200% more than what they were originally paying. But still, that is quite a chunk. And all of these people that spent that extra money on these electric cars, if they can charge them, will now have to charge them paying 300% of what they used to pay before. Right? So that's where we are headed, ladies and gentlemen. We are headed towards a great depression. If you didn't take a look at the video that I put up earlier today, I did a payday prep, and there are some things every once in a while, life happens, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, this is a prep that I really need to have because something happened here a few days ago where I didn't have something that I needed. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. Go watch it because it's a great idea for something that you need to have. And when we do turn into this Great Depression that we're turning into, a lot of those things are just not going to be available. When China finally cuts us off, and China will cut us off, all right, a lot of things that we are used to just going to Amazon right now and clicking that button, a lot of those things just will not be available. So if you know you're going to need something now, ladies and gentlemen, get it now. If you know you're going to need it a year from now, get it now. All right. How many people are thinking about baby formula anymore? Are any of you thinking about getting baby formula? If you have babies, or if you have a spouse or a child that's pregnant, that's going to have a baby, are you thinking about that? Well, I haven't heard a lot about it lately. It seems that that's out of the news cycle, but are you thinking about that if you have children? Are you thinking about getting them some clothes that are maybe 2 or 3 sizes up for when they get bigger? Because I'm telling you, China will eventually cut us off. Right? Why? Well, I mean, just take a look at what's going on with Taiwan. Take a look at what's going on with China, hooking up with Russia. Some good news is that, I don't have this article pulled up, but some good news is that China is actually exporting gasoline and diesel fuel. So they're actually exporting it. So I'm hoping that by them exporting that, it will actually stabilize the price of gasoline and diesel, even though they're still pretty high compared to a couple of years ago. That it'll stabilize it for a minute, because their economy is doing so terribly that they have too much gas, because their economy is doing so terribly. So that's another thing that's going to happen. Let me show you one last thing before I let you go. I want to take you through the markets real quick. And not necessarily through all the markets. Well, this is the Dow Jones right now. It's at negative 385. Like I said, Dow Jones, no big deal. But look at the dollar. Look at the dollar, how it continues to go up. It's at 110. And I think that it's going to go up higher, all right, because it's got a point of resistance right here. The highest it's gotten is 110.3. And right now it's at 110 you can say 0.09. And it keeps knocking its head on that little piece of resistance, all right? So I have a feeling that we might be doing a head and shoulders. We got a shoulder right here. We got a head right here. So it may come down, and then it may go back up, all right? So it may be doing a head and shoulders where it comes down, then goes back up, and then it crashes, and then that's the bad news, all right? Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. A head and shoulders pattern in technical analysis. Now, I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit. A head and shoulder pattern is a bearish pattern, meaning that it's going to go down, all right, in TA. So right here, we can see that we might have a shoulder right here, because this right here is a little higher than this high right here, right? So this might be the head. So if this goes back down, and this doesn't happen overnight, it might take a while, and I think it will take a while before the Fed pivots and does a 180 and starts printing money again and buying assets again and putting it on a balance sheet. So if we see this go down and then go back up and build the right shoulder, here's the left shoulder, here's the head. If this goes down and it builds a right shoulder, that to me would signify that the Fed is about getting ready to pivot, meaning restarting quantitative easing, restarting the buying back of assets and adding it to their balance sheets, and bringing down interest rates, which would enable the dollar's value to plummet. And when that happens, everything is going to go up in price even more. Everything will go up in price even more. Inflation will be rampant. This is absolutely nothing compared to what that's going to be. And when that happens, everything will go up in price. But take a look at this. Oh my goodness, we are so close. This here is our 10-year. Our 10-year is at 3.541. All right, 3.541. Now take a look at our 30-year. Our 30-year is at 3.544. Not even 3 basis points. The 10-year and the 30-year are within 0.3 of a basis point to be even. And whenever the 10-year goes above the 30-year, that's called an inverse. And right now, the 2-year has already inversed the 30-year. And I'm not going to get into the specificities of this, but whenever, just ask yourself this, and I know I'm making this really long, but I really want you to understand this, all right? This is just the layman version of it. Ask yourself this. What are bonds? Bonds are debt instruments. Bonds are pieces of paper that the U.S. prints and says, hey, will you like to lend this money at this interest rate for this long? So if you go to the 2-year bond, you would think, well, I'm only going to lend you X number of dollars for only 2 years, so the interest rate should be pretty low because it's not a very long bond to hold. It's only 2 years. So you would think that a 30-year bond, where the government is holding your money for even longer, you should have a higher interest rate. But not now. The 2-year bond has a higher interest rate than does the 30-year. People are just not buying any bonds. They're getting out of the bond market. That's whenever the bond percentage goes up, it's a bad thing. It means that people don't want to hold those U.S. bonds, so they're not buying them. And that's why the percentage goes up, because the less people that buy them, then they have to increase the percentage in order to try to bring in people to buy them, saying, hey, we'll give you a higher percentage interest rate. Right? So this is not good. And the 10-year inversing with the 30-year, that's really not good at all. So things aren't looking very great. Let me tell you what I think about gold. Gold looks great. I love it. I think gold will make it all the way to at least 1,500, if not less. So I'm keeping some dry powder on the side. I think that gold will probably get below 1,500 by the time that, especially when they increase interest rates again. I think it's tomorrow that the Fed meets to see if they're going to increase the interest rates. When they keep increasing interest rates, when the dollar gets stronger, gold and silver, they're going to continue to get smashed. I'm surprised that silver right now is at $19.22. I figured it'd be a little bit lower. But gold is sitting at $16.72. I think gold will eventually make it down to 1,500, if not less, which, in my opinion, it's a great thing, because to me, that's a sale. That is a sale. So having said that, let me leave it off at that. I probably made this video way longer than it needed to be, but I do hope you got something out of it. Get a water filter if you can. I put out express shipping on that water filtration system that I'm getting, so that I can review it as soon as I get it. All right, so as soon as I get it, I'm going to review it that same day so I can put it out and let you all know, because it is a good system from what I can see. It's been tested by a third party, and my friend says that he swears by it. It's like a great system that he's used for years. So I will be putting that out as soon as I can. Having said that, have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.
Nutrient survival isn't just survival food. It's special ops grade. Built to the nutritional standards of the U.S. Special Ops and packed with 40 essential nutrients. Formulated to sustain energy, sharpen focus, and keep you and your family thriving during any emergency. Real food, real ingredients.